What's up YouTube? I'm Valentin the Mad, and this is a destruction overview of Red Faction Guerrilla. Destruction reviews were requested for a very long while now, and I figured, why not? Let's start discussing this type of response as well. The idea in this series is to provide an overview of the destruction mechanics in each reviewed game, discuss the features as well as the limitations, and provide some feedback. The categories are large-scale destruction, for discussion of the responses for buildings and large structures. Small-scale destruction, for discussion of interior destruction. Terrain and vegetation, which is pretty self-explanatory. And others, which is a category for discussion of other destruction and physics-related features. So, let's begin. The large-scale destruction is incredible in this game. First of all, almost every single structure can be destroyed. If it stands, it can most likely come down. I encountered very few structures, or parts of structures, that could not be destroyed, but other than those, pretty much anything will fall. What really makes Red Faction Guerrilla stand out is the process of destroying those structures. It's fully dynamic and incredibly detailed. Each building and structure consists of many pieces of concrete, metal foundations and other materials, and each piece can be destroyed or blown out individually. Metal pieces also have a deformed variation, however, that deformation is not dynamic. In order to avoid seeing huge structures stand on a single metal pillar, weight and stress are also taken into account. There are occasional bugs and issues with that, but it works properly for the most part. As you could already see, the debris is not just eye candy. It also has weight, and it will damage, destroy, or kill whatever it lands on. There is one issue though with the large-scale destruction. Bullets cannot damage and destroy walls. Obviously, pieces shouldn't get destroyed after 1 or 2 hits, but after about 10 or 15 bullets, it should be possible. Unlike the large-scale destruction, the interior destruction is not interesting at all. You don't have many interactive items, and the responses are pretty basic. An odd issue is that bullets can't destroy many interior items either. If you don't have a bulletproof vest, you could just strap a few of those on and you're good to go. The game is taking place on Mars, so this is pretty much all the vegetation you'll see. Well, how about the terrain? The only response you'll see is black burn marks. There is no terrain deformation whatsoever. Terrain deformation was a big feature in the first Red Faction game, and it's a shame that it did not make it into Guerrilla. The game features drivable vehicles, and the destruction of those is not very detailed. The metal deformation you'll see is not dynamic, and very few parts can come off. Also, speaking of vehicles, when you have characters riding in the back, not strapped to the seatbelt, they'll fly off on hard hits, or when your car gets flipped over. A small, but a very cool and entertaining feature. One thing this game really needs is an option to reset the structures in the campaign. After you take down a structure, it will remain destroyed unless you load an earlier save file or start a new game. While keeping stuff destroyed obviously makes perfect sense, it would be great to have the option to return and destroy certain areas again and again without having to resort to mods for workarounds. The keyword here is option, and structures should remain destroyed by default. As for the aftermath, Some pieces of the structure will disappear as it comes down, and more pieces will vanish as you destroy more structures, until what is left is mostly a bit from each destroyed structure. Despite the disappearing pieces, the immediate aftermath is not bad, and since we're talking about hundreds of pieces that will remain interactive even after the structure comes down, it makes sense to have some stuff vanish. It would be great, however, to have control over that and let more pieces stay if your machine can handle it. So how does it feel? Very responsive for explosives. Or when you drive a car into a building. The structure destruction is absolutely amazing, and despite the lack of terrain deformation, explosives will deliver great response. However, when explosives are not involved, the fights will not be nearly as responsive. There's barely any interior destruction, and bullets simply won't be able to damage or destroy pretty much anything, aside from windows, a few objects, and enemy soldiers. It's a shame, because in this case, that is only a matter of activation. The structure destruction is detailed enough to deliver good response for bullets as well, which leads me to this. One thing I would really wanna see is a game with building destruction as detailed as what we have in Guerrilla, but with proper interior destruction as well, and a focus on bullets, rather than explosives. The idea would be that everything could get destroyed, but it would gradually get torn apart in long fights, instead of coming down quickly in explosions. In the Go reviews, when a game does a good job only in one category, it usually doesn't feel very responsive. That is not so much the case with destruction, and Red Faction Guerrilla is a great example of that. When you have structure destruction that is this good, it makes up for a lot of the shortcomings. That's it for today. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe and share it around. If you wanna help keep the videos coming and get rewards in return, the Patreon link is in the description below. Until next time.